Hey everyone, if you guys like the content, go and subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, and give the video a like or share. All right, you guys, welcome to the listening room today. My name is Eddie Booz. I'm your host, and with me today, as always, my co-host, Miss Daisy, behind me. All right, and today my guest is Mr. Kyle Romero from the Mind Tasting Podcast. How are you, Mr. Romero?
I'm very well. Very, very well. Feeling good.
Excellent.
Got some sun today. Feeling good, man.
Excellent, brother. Well, it's good to have you on. I'm going to have you on every week, and you ended up going out to spend some time with some family out in the Bay Area, up north.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna have you on for the next couple weeks remote, which is awesome. Like I said, just stoked to have you on in general. So
yeah.
Great to see you. How has everything been up north since you got there?
It's good, man. It's a little colder here than it is out in LA. The breeze is a little chillier, but my aunt lives actually a couple blocks away from the beach, and so we've been able to literally just walk and enjoy some beach time. So it's been really nice.
Cool, dude. Excellent, brother. Today I'd like to start off the show like I like to start off every show. Like I like to start off my day with a little bit of gratitude. So today I'd like to say that I am so happy and grateful for my guitar, my show guitar, the one that I use to play shows with, my baby, my Yamaha. She's been amazing for over a decade. I use her for
Awesome.
I use her for every major show out there. The only shows I don't use her for are the Big Red Bus during Christmas season, because it kind of gets a little banged up if I take it on the bus. But I love this guitar. It's treated me very, very well. And and sometimes, a lot of times I like to say I'm grateful for, like, something, in my life as far as a person goes, or something in my life as far as, an emotion goes, or a possibility, is concerned. But there's also nothing wrong with being grateful. In fact, it's important to be grateful for the actual things that you have and utilize in your life,
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. I completely agree. I love that word you use there, utilize. It's a tool for you. It's not just something that you look at. It's something that you use and utilize to create and to express. And so totally understand, your connection with that and your gratitude for that. So that's awesome, man. I love that.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So why don't you share with me something you're grateful for today, my brother?
Yeah, I will. I'm actually grateful for this connection possibility that we have. Like with quarantine, it's been really hard for people, but just our ability to connect through the technology that we have now, and using the internet and all these different tools, whether it's Skype or Zoom or Google Hangouts or just chatting, just our ability to connect with people in a way that we never have before in our history. We're kind of at the peak level of our connectivity, and so I'm very grateful for that opportunity and that possibility, and the utilization, that same word that you used, our ability to kind of utilize this to connect and have meetings and bond with each other.
Absolutely. It's funny too, because I found that this digital connection is also, like you said, it's, you know, as far as utilization goes, it's really been a really cool tool as far as meeting people too, to be honest with you. Like my friend BJ, who's on the show regularly as well, he's actually invited me recently to play a few games, online games, with himself and some of his friends recently. So I've got to meet some of his friends, super cool people. And so it's not stopped and evolution of social change. You know what I'm saying? Of like still getting to meet people and still kind of having that social it's that new unique social interaction, not just having a social interaction in general with the people you already know. It's still allowing us to meet new parties and to kind of really, you know, explore, you know, new people through this. As well.
It's broadened our reach. You know, now we're not confined to just the people in our area or in our close circle. But as you said, now I'm able to integrate myself into other circles a lot more easily, people that are across the country, because of the tools that we have available to us now.
Right, absolutely. So let's go ahead and, dude, you're absolutely right about that, you know, and to be honest with you, it makes me grateful for that as well, you know, and you know, it's funny too, like, you know, like many things in life, we're not as in tune with, you know, the fact that we are grateful, the fact that we are appreciative.
It's easy to see the bad side, you know, but
it's not only not easy to
why not look at the good side?
Right, it's easy to see the bad side, and it's also easy to just simply overlook the good. Take it for granted. Exactly, is what it is. You know. So,
totally.
But yeah, you know, and like I always like to say on the show, I always like to say it's very important that we stay active in our own mental and emotional health. And one of the best ways to do that for myself, actually, and this is something I work on every day, is acknowledging and being aware and celebrate the things that we're grateful for in life. You know, and I find that, you know, openly acknowledging those things, openly being aware of them, writing them down, saying them, talking about them, I feel that is one of the best ways to stay active in your own mental and emotional health and keep you on a positive path, keep you keep your mind, you know, more positive. Like I said, more closely tuned to center. You know, and like Dave Meltzer says, you know, it's a lot easier to find your center when you're familiar with it. You know, so it's like, you know, so I invite everyone to write down the things they're grateful for in the comment section, say them out loud, get a journal, start writing them down. It's one of the most important things you can possibly do. And if you can think of things you're grateful for, even in a time when it's hard to feel that gratitude, imagine how you're going to feel when there is a lot to be grateful for. So, you know, it's reprogramming, you know, it's reprogramming your subconscious for, you know, positivity, love, and success, you know. So, okay, so let's take a quick listen to the song that we're going to do today. So, this series of songs that I have done recently, has been a kind of a throw out to other stuff that I did quite a while ago. So, let's go ahead. I think we lost Kyle. I'm going to get him back right now. So, let's go ahead and play this song. This song is called A Different Crime. All right, here we go. Lock up all your lies, lost memories stand by the dead lights. Legendized, festering on your own, the world to yourself among gods. Wash away, start a different crime. Slide into the rendezvous and look for the blow. So All right, that was A Different Crime. I guess before I wrote that back in 2009. Good to see you, Ray, Robbie, BJ, everybody in the house tonight. So that was just something kind of I wrote a long time ago to jump some stuff and kind of jumpstart some stuff and get kind of a project going back then. I never really got off the ground, but I wrote quite a few songs for the project. So I'll be showing a couple of more songs from that project over the next couple of days, and then we'll probably move. Actually, today's Thursday, so tomorrow we're gonna have Mr. Crumb in studio doing our first in-studio live musical performance tomorrow. So make sure everybody, you guys, tune in for that. And great to see all of you guys in studio tonight. So real quick, I just want to check in with Miss Daisy and see what she thought about that tune. All right, there we go, Miss Daisy. She loved it. She always does. Good girl. Anyway, Kyle, so you guys, Kyle Romero is the host of the Mind Tasting podcast on Spotify. You guys can find it on Apple Music and other sources as well. You guys check out the Mind Tasting podcast. So, Kyle, today when I have you on here today, I wanted to talk to you about something specific today. I wanted to talk to you about the importance, the benefits, and the consequences of decision making, of being able to make decisions relatively quickly and be confident in the decisions you make, and also some of the aspects that surround decision making, like what I mean by that is, are you making important decisions in your life based on other people's needs? Or are you making important decisions in your life based on your own needs? And right, exactly, and things along those lines. Like, so I know you took you're on a trip right now, to see your family and stuff like that, and you decided to go. You made a decision. You said, I'm going to do this. Not I want to someday. I'm going to do this. So you made a decision to go. Well, I mean, in your opinion, like, what do you think? What do you think that entails as far as being confident in decision making and even learning, even when the decisions don't work out, maybe in your favor?
Well, I think one aspect of decision making, you've touched on a lot of things that I think are really encapsulate decision making. First of all, making decisions that are for your benefit, or not necessarily in a selfish way, but to be looking out for yourself and to be in tune with what your needs are in the moment, and to not feel guilty or ashamed for prioritizing your own mental health and the things that are, your basic needs. And so, that's part of the reason that I came out here, with quarantine and everything. I was just really getting cooped up, and I just really felt in my gut that I needed a little bit of a environment change. And so I followed that, and I've been practicing more and more and just trusting myself and not feeling guilty in prioritizing my needs and my emotional and mental health. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we can have some programming and conditioning where you're supposed to be worried about what everyone else thinks and how is that going to be perceived and all of that. So I think that's one of the first things with decision making, is to really get in tune with yourself and to not feel guilty or ashamed of prioritizing your needs.
Right. Looks like he got a little frozen here. Let me try and get him back. And while I do here, so what he's talking about is absolutely right, and I think a large part of that is making decisions. Even when you take, and obviously when you make decisions, you take into account what other people are going through. You don't want to make a decision that's going to hurt somebody. However, I think that what he was talking about there, as far as knowing what knowing what your highest values are, and making decisions that are aligned with your best interest, aligned with what your goals are and your desires are, and I think that's important. I think that you can always be cognizant of other people's of other people's feelings and of the things that people are going through. But at the same time, it's extremely important to recognize where your values are and stay aligned with that. And as you make decisions moving forward, as you make decisions, important decisions in your life, you need to stay aligned with those decisions and staying confident and strong in your own beliefs and your own Robbie calls this here a healthy selfishness, and so and essentially that's what it is. There's a difference between being greedy and being selfish. You have to look out for yourself. You ever hear the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup? You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Kyle? So it's like,
Got to fill your cup
that's
first.
right. Like my cup overfloweth and filleth everyone else's around me. You have to
Totally.
keep your own values aligned with with the decisions you make moving forward. And absolutely, as you take other people's feelings into account, as you take into account the things that are going on in your life and around you and family members and friends and the other important people in your life, all will factor into the important decisions that you make in your life. However, if you are confident in yourself, if you're authentic, if you continue to follow your own values and stay aligned with your own purpose and your genuine purpose,
And just trust your intention. If your intention
you
isn't
go.
to, like hurt other people, then someone might perceive it that way, but that's probably them projecting onto you.
Right.
Like your intention is your intention, and I'm just looking out for myself, and that's not a bad thing.
Right, and you make a really good point there. It's sometimes if people are gonna get offended by a decision that you make, a lot of times you're right. That is an insecurity that's projected onto you from someone else, and we always have to keep in mind that people can only come from where they come from. They can only come from having their own experiences in life.
Everyone has their own perspective.
Everyone has their own perspective. Everyone has their own emotional blueprint. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has their own subconscious that's been built over years of experiences that have caused them to feel a certain way inside and react a certain way to every situation moving forward. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you're absolutely right. You can't control how other people are going to react to your decisions. You can only make the best decisions for your life that you can possibly make moving forward every day.
Yeah.
So making the more fulfilling decisions, trying to, make the decisions to keep yourself happy and do the things that, like I said earlier, are more aligned with your highest self and your goals and your values,
Yeah. I think another thing that you had mentioned when you first asked the question, a word that you used was learn. And what I found with decision making is if you just stay indecisive and in thinking world and like debating, you don't learn anything because you're not actually doing anything.
Right.
Versus when you decide to do it, then you can start to make iterations and like, okay, I maybe made a mistake or something happened, but I'm going to adapt. I'm learning because I'm doing and I'm deciding versus, and that's actually what happened. That's why I'm so grateful for you, Eddie, to really, you were the one who started me, like got me going with the podcast, because I basically spent 2 years in thinking land coming up with ideas, which was beneficial. I do have a lot of ideas, so that I did make something of that. But just starting now, and it's only been a month, I've learned so much in this past month because I've been actually doing and making decisions. Okay, I want to do this podcast. I'm going to release this one. I'm going to do this one. You know what I mean? So really being active and just realizing that you can't go back in time, right? Like you can't go back in time. Oh, what if I had done the other thing? Well, you'll never know that. That's impossible. So like stop looking backwards. You made the decision and then go for it.
Absolutely right, and you're so right about that. In fact, that's something I'm kind of happy about that I actually do is like I'll make decisions and I'll do something and then if I learn from it, as I go that's either not what I want to do or maybe it needs to be adjusted or changed, like I'll do that. Yeah. For instance, like recently, like I had this idea to do like a Saturday morning sing along for the Arts and Enrichment Academy. and I did it like the one time, like I decided to do it and I did it like the one time, and then I realized I was like, okay, wait, I was like, and after watching it back, I was like, okay, it was okay. Then I realized like so many different things that could have been better about it, and how it could have been built in a more proper and a better even marketed way to reach more kids and more people. You know, and it was like, it's like you learn from doing. You don't learn from imagining. You know.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, you create from imagining, but you don't learn from imagining. You know, Ray says the biggest thing on your deathbed. How do you analyze your life? Check this out, Ray. The one biggest regret from most people on their deathbeds is that they did not live a life true to themselves. Hear that right now. Studies have shown that people on their deathbeds' largest regret as a whole are that they did not live a life true to themselves. Meaning, what we're talking about right here, about making decisions, and about making decisions that are most closely aligned with your values and your highest interests and your highest being. You see what I'm saying? So,
and I think that points to another thing that I think with regret is that more often than not, you regret something that you didn't do.
That's what I'm saying. Is
you don't regret what you tried and maybe it failed a little bit,
dude.
But you don't really regret it because you learn, like we're talking about. You learn from it, so it's not a regret. It's okay. I just need to adjust.
Right.
Versus when you don't do anything.
Yes. Dude, when I wrote and shot my very first short film. It was called Stalked at the time, and then I changed the name to Time Is on My Side, and we shot it in 2012. And then actually I'll never release it because it ended up being like a couple years later, a feature film ended up being made that was the exact same story. And so like even though ours was made 5 years earlier, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't really want to like have to deal with that. So that will never be released. Ray actually worked on that. Actually, Ray did like all the G&E stuff. He did all the lighting and all the like the heavy lifting and stuff on that project actually. But the thing we're talking about here is making decisions. And like I remember telling the director, like I had never written a script before. But I wanted to make something. I'm like, I want to just shoot something. I want to do something. So I wrote something, I shot it to him. He's like, it's all right. He's like, it's pretty good. You know, rewrite this as a script and get back to me. You know, I got back to him, and he told me it'll take like 6 months to pre-produce this, like 6 months to a year. And I was like, dude, I wanted to shoot this in like 2 to 4 weeks. And he's like, can't be done. And I'm like, what needs to be done? Like, let's make a list of all the stuff that needs to be done, you know, and let's do it. And he called me, and actually I called him, like, I took the list home, and I called him about 3 days later, and I said, be at my house next Tuesday for a casting session for the film. And he was like, already? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, whatever, I'll be there. And he shows up at my house, and he walks in, and there's like 40 people in my living room getting ready to read for parts of this movie, you know. And he looks at me like, how the fuck did you get all these people here so fast to be a part of this? Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I got not only that, I got the props taken care of, I got the crew taken care of, I got the sound I got it, like it was in the pocket, ready to rock. And and so I put this thing together fast. I produced this thing, and I said, I'd never been to film school, so I didn't know the rules and how you were supposed to do things. I just knew that we had to get these things done, so I went and did these things as fast as I could. We ended up getting together and shooting this thing. It was like 12 people in the cast. It was like 30 pages. Dude, it was super cool, dude. And we shot this thing. It was super professional. It was awesome. We had an amazing time doing it. And guess what? It wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, but I learned. You know what I'm saying? It was the first shot, but guess what? I had fun doing it. I did not regret making the decision to do it. I learned from it. And check this out. Making that decision motivated me to move forward and make another one, and then another one, and then another one. Because you start getting better at it. And then you start getting excited about certain things. You know, and it's like, make the decision, jump into it. If you guys have wanted to do something, especially if it's something you've like just wanted to do with your life, make that decision. Don't worry about what other people are going to judge you about. You know, it's like, if you want to be a tap dancer, go be a tap dancer. You know what I'm saying? If you're a big buff dude and you want to go dance ballet, like, go dance ballet. Like, I'll come watch you. Like, let's do it. Like, let's, you know, like, it don't matter, you know, like, whatever your passion is, like, no, I'm not going to knock you for it, you know? We go out, try things, have fun, make decisions that are most closely aligned with your life. And, you know, I know a lot of people out there have an issue with parental guidance in decision making, even far into their adulthood. You know, as parents kind of have this thing about, you know, they think we're gonna make the best decisions for our kids from when they're born up until the time they leave our house. You know, and that's their job, that's their responsibility. But when they leave their house, they fail to realize that a lot of parents fail to realize that these kids, that these adults that they've raised are gonna want to make decisions of their own. They're gonna want to have passions. They're gonna want to do things, and sometimes a parental, you know, direction, you know, or push can really make things a little hard for, you know, for kids. What do you think about that type of, you know, like, back and forth, and, you know, from like that type of aspect to decision making, of being kind of overbeared as an individual by family, friends, maybe a loved one, maybe your significant other, to make a specific decision that doesn't most closely align with your needs and your highest self?
I think it goes back to all the stuff we were saying earlier, where when a parent is making decisions for you all the time, what happens is you get used to making decisions based on someone else. And so now all of a sudden, when you start making decisions for yourself, you're not super connected with what you actually want. So it's like, I don't even know what I want. I've never made decisions for myself because my parents have made these decisions for me. And so what I've noticed, and it happened with me, is there was an adjustment period where I needed to get connected with myself, because I wasn't really making that many decisions for myself in my childhood. And so I had to really learn and get that connection with myself, and learn what we were saying earlier, to not be ashamed of making decisions for what really feels right inside of me, as opposed to what the public image is, what other people are thinking, you know? So I almost think the parental role is what becomes this, like, is your relationship with society later on, you know, like what you thought was your parents becomes your paradigm for how you see all of the world, you know, and all of the world is expecting this or that from me. And so definitely kind of detaching from that in adulthood, and realizing, you know, it's not about making decisions what your parents want. It's about, because what they really want is for you to be happy anyway. So if you just connect with yourself and start to manifest what you actually want, they're going to be happy anyway. Oftentimes it's just they're making decisions for you because they just see the world differently, and they were raised in a different era.
True.
And so they think this is the right decision. But now you, 20, 30 years later, have a different perspective, and you're living in a different world with different technology and different social rules and social norms. And so you oftentimes do have to make a decision that's different from what your parents want, because you're in a different generation, right? You know?
No, you make you make a valid point there, you know, and you know, everybody's their own person. You know what I'm saying? There's individualism, you know, at play here. You know, just part of the human condition. It's not like
everyone has their experience of life.
There's no robots out there. I mean, there are robots out there. It's just that we're not robots. I'm saying that we have emotions, and sometimes we're actually subjected to them. You know, we have our desires, we have our values. You know, and I think that while being respectful to our parents and being respectful to our loved ones and being respectful to our significant others or our children or our brothers and sisters or whoever may have what they feel is the best in intentions for you at heart, they don't always necessarily have the best advice. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
just because someone loves
Right.
you with all their heart doesn't mean they're going to give you the best advice. So
Yeah.
you always have to take that into account and follow your instinct. You have to realize that you are you, and you're going to have your own path. And
Yeah.
don't be ashamed of it. Don't shy away from it. Embrace it. Even in the face of potentially letting someone else down because they expect something else of you. Or even
Right.
that for the simple fact of the matter that maybe you've even lived your life a certain way up to one point and you don't want to live it that way anymore, and you just decide that you want to make a change in your life, and somebody that's around you doesn't want that change to happen. Let's say you want to make a change for the better for yourself, and you're got a couple people in your life or whatever that you're closely around, and they want you to stay, in the same pattern or routine.
They have a specific role and identity
That's
for
right,
you
of where you fit in their mind.
They're using you to fill a certain thing that they need, and sometimes you do have to realize that detachment from that and realizing I don't want to be this person anymore. I'm sorry, you're going to have to find something else what we were saying earlier, I have to prioritize my own needs first. I can't be living my life to be the person that you want me to be. And it's really an indicator. If someone really doesn't want you to be who you want to be, that's probably someone that you don't really want in your life. If they're just using you,
that's an absolute truth.
It's probably not someone that is going to be supporting your growth and your development.
That's right, Kyle. You make a really good point, and you don't have to be subjected to that. You make your own decisions, and I know there's people out there who have thought about like, oh, I really would like to do something like this, but how could I? Because they let their current circumstances and their past dictate their future. Literally dictate their reality for their future, and they think, well, how could I change anything? I'm where I am, and this is what it is, this is what life is. But it's literally about, instead of just wanting something, instead of just saying, oh, I wish this could happen, it says making. And by the way, whenever you're wishing for something, you're coming from a place of lack, of I don't have, I don't think I'll ever have. You know what I'm saying? Instead of doing that, people more often than not don't make a decision to do the thing that they want to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you actually just made the decision to say, you know what, like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, it may suck and it may hurt some of the people around me at the moment, but this is not for me anymore, and I got to do something differently with myself. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that, you're right. It's other people they have an expectation of you and a role that they want you to play in their lives. A role that that this is their norm and this is their routine. And once again, change, when you do things like that, when you start changing, you'll notice that other people in your life start to inadvertently get threatened by the change. They'll literally be like, well, I mean, where do I fit in this new changing existence of yours? And they see you leveling up and you doing things, they automatically go like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? Do I still fit into this? You know what I mean? Like, so, but you know what? You can't allow that to be the determining factor. You can't allow that to be the determining factor in your decisions to be the best version of you every year, every month, every day. Moving forward, and allowing yourself to, also that comes with allowing yourself to make a decision, make a mistake, realize sometime down the road that, you know what, this isn't for me. I gave it a shot. We tried it. I tried this. It didn't really work. I'm going to need to move into something that's more aligned with me, and I will cut this off now because
Yeah.
I'm and you know what, Kyle, everything that we've talked about making those decisions, about pulling yourself away from maybe parties that are expectant of you, that's one of the that takes more strength than you could. I mean, then it's the kind of strength, that kind of emotional and mental strength that takes is almost unfathomable. That's why it's hard for people to leave 20-year marriages. That's why it's hard for people to leave jobs that they've been at forever, because they don't have an idea of what the possibilities are for a better existence for themselves.
Yeah, man, creating a new identity and creating a new and shedding the past identity is very much a very huge challenge, and is no easy task, and is going to be one of the thing is, though, with every challenge comes the growth that comes with that. You know what I mean? And so it's going to be challenging, but you're also going to grow. The other thing that I wanted to mention as well with this is that although you might detach from some people, realize that there are gonna be other people that in your new reality, in your new identity, there are gonna be other people that are more aligned with that. So it's not like, oh, I have to do this by myself all of a sudden and no one's gonna support me.
Right.
Actually, when you go on this new endeavor, you're going to encounter people that are more aligned with you, and those are your new support system and your new friends and the new people in your life.
That's a very exciting truth. Do you understand that? Like, so what happens is, so there's voids that are created in your life every day. So either you're creating a void for yourself to fill, or you're creating a void for the universe to fill. You're always doing one or the other. And when you're when you're clearing the soil, when you're clearing the garden of all the weeds and all the stuff that you feel are tying you down or not as closely aligned with your true and highest self, when you're doing that, you're actually creating a void for the universe to fill with better than was there before. Do you understand that? But now on the flip side of that coin, when you go out and you overpromise things, and you misrepresent, and you back end sell, or you do crazy shit that puts that people now have expectations of you that you can't follow through on. Now you're creating a void in your life that you need to fill, that the universe can't fill, and that you have every intention of filling off the bat, but you know, how likely is it that you're going to be able to follow through on things like that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you create these voids in your life, be really careful about how you do it and which ones you create. Ray says, you know, and Ray says something here. Actually, Hollowbox says something. There's two comments in here I wanted to touch on. Hollowbox says, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." That's you know, that says it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, have to make the decisions that are most closely aligned with who you are, not anyone else. You know, and Ray says something here that's really important too. He says, hell yeah, definitely. Like, when I quit my job, my parents supported it, but during their generation, they were taught to keep whatever job they had and be happy that they had one, even where there was a lot of stress. You know what I'm saying? And that's true. Like, we were talking about how parents can come from a specific generation and a specific experience and think and really want the best for their children in one hand, but also be pushing, you know, in something that, you know, an experience that they themselves have been through. Now I know specifically what Ray is talking about here. Now, Ray, if I might say, was the ex-mechanic of the Goodyear blimp. Actually, he was the mechanic of the Goodyear blimp for 10 years, for about a decade, if I'm not mistaken, or was it a little less, Ray? But that's a job that he ended up having. He ended up leaving and that is another thing. He made a conscious decision to leave that job to spend more time with his family. He was away. He was out and spending, you know, time. He was spending time out of state, you know, a lot, and you know, he didn't have a lot of time to spend with his family. But that's something that I really admire about this man. Is he, you make that kind of decision. That's pretty significant. You know, when you have the kind of job that man had, which is literally one in, you know, 340 million. Like, he was the only person that was the head of, you know, I mean, the only one who had that job in the country. And it's a damn it's a damn awesome job, you know. And he valued family over career, which Ray's, you know, Ray's work ethic is second to none. So I mean, it's the top
Yeah.
not always working, top notch, and he prides himself on the velocity of his work, on how well it's done. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
Yeah.
seeing that, talking about making decisions, boy, that's a decision right there. Being able to give something, and what's amazing is now Ray, he gave up a job. He created a void in his life for the universe to fill, and now Ray is the mechanic of Splash Mountain over at Disneyland. Spends more time with his family, more regular hours, doesn't have to travel to Ohio 8 times a year. You know what I mean? Like, it's like he created a void. The universe filled it with something amazing. So.
And I think that really points to the fact that we were talking about it, that in life there are moments in time, and we're constantly evolving. So Ray had that period of his life, and that was great, and that felt right at that moment. And then he was in touch with himself enough to know, okay, actually now that served me, and that was great, and I'm grateful, I'm appreciative.
Totally.
It's not that I'm mad.
Absolutely.
I don't hate this thing, but it just isn't serving me anymore. I'm evolving into a new part of myself, a new version of myself, and I'm okay with that evolution.
Yes.
I'm willing to let go, and I'm moving forward.
Love that.
So I think for everyone to realize that we're constantly evolving, and to be okay with adapting and changing. And you don't have to be the same person. And even though, again, people have this identity, they have a picture of who they think you are, and you realize, I'm not that person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to evolve, and y'all can evolve with me and stay in my life, or like I'm gonna have to leave you in the past where.
Right.
And I'm grateful for that too. But if you don't want to evolve with me, then.
And you don't have to completely cut people out of your life. Something Jake Ducey said that really resonated with me was, you just don't go as often, or just don't stay as long. You know what I mean? You can just limit
natural. It becomes a vibration thing. You just naturally, as your vibration changes, you naturally just aren't with them as long, and you don't hang out as often, and maybe you'll send a text here and there, but it's like it's a smaller and smaller part of your life.
Right. Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely. You make amazing points here. I love talking to you. I love having you on the show. I'm really looking forward to being on the Mind Tasting podcast as soon as you get back as well. We can probably do one while you're out there.
Man.
So guys, tonight we are gonna have a special jam session this evening. We're gonna have Mr. Crumb in the house with me, and Mr. Burns, the banjo player, Mr. Dave Burns, is gonna be in the house jamming in 1 hour from right now. So make sure you guys are back here, youtube.com/EddieBooze for the jam session tonight. Should be dope. And then tomorrow night, Mr. Crumb is actually going to be my musical guest right here on The Listening Room. So everybody tune in at 6:30 tomorrow for Mr. Crumb as my musical guest tomorrow in The Listening Room. I can't wait to have you guys all back here. You guys have been amazing today. Thank you so much for the amazing engagement and interaction. Ray, Hollowbox, everybody out there who's out there watching today, you guys. Robbie, Tiago, BJ, we love all you guys, man. So wonderful to see everybody. Thank you so much for watching The Listening Room. Thank you so much, Kyle, for being with me today. I love every single one of you guys. Remember, make some decisions. Be confident in those decisions, and make them more closely aligned with your values. Love you guys.
Yeah.
So, all right, you guys. We'll see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow night. Actually, I'll see you in an hour. And then tomorrow night on The Listening Room at 6:30. Have a wonderful evening, you guys. Take care. Thanks for being a part of The Listening Room tonight. My name is Eddie Booze. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notifications, and give the video a like. We'll see you guys every Monday through Friday right here at 6:30. Take care.